Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called First Time You Realized America Really Messed You Up Part 5. So I've seen several videos of this sort of like prompt, and they're really funny. They're also really sad as well. Usually I think most of the time it's having to do with like people that move abroad and they realize how strange particular the American like health system is. I think that's probably like the biggest culture shock of like, oh, you don't have to like go into debt to actually get medical health care. That's probably the most like, people are super freaked out about like I don't have to like pay, I don't know, get a loan in order to like pay an ambulance. So this, I would say, it's probably like the ones that are probably the most culture shocking inducing things, but I don't know if this is going to be the same. But let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I have so many of these.
Okay.
So I currently live in London with my now husband, and when we were dating and I would come visit him because we were doing the whole long distance thing, every time I would come, I would lose at least 5 pounds. Without a doubt, it happened every single time. And I truly think it's just because the food over here is required to be better for you. Because I was not watching what I ate. We would eat desserts all the time. We were doing the touristy things, so we eat out a lot. And on top of that,
you're welcome.
I don't exercise when I'm over here, and I also am not walking around because I use my wheelchair. So yeah, it's literally just because there's better food laws here in the United Kingdom instead of in the United States. So there you go. That's my story.
Interesting point. She's like, I'm not walking around because I'm still using my wheelchair, which, okay, I was gonna say, but you're walking more. But I think usually, even if you're in a wheelchair, you're gonna be using, I'm pretty sure, you're still gonna be like obviously moving around, and I'm pretty sure like she moves more when she's in London, or moved, past tense because she lives here. But I'm pretty sure like she was still moving around a little bit more, just because like even in wheelchairs, like there's like life in the United States, it's like very sedentary. And just by virtue of like being somewhere else, you're just gonna walk around and not walk around, just move around a little bit more. But I think she says, it's actually like the food, like she wasn't watching what she ate, and they would go out to restaurants. And it's like, yes, but I'm pretty sure like it has to do with portion sizes, because it's something that a lot of people, well, not to say, unless that you're like in a very specific, like very into like, I don't know, watching my weight or something, or you have like very specific like body composition goals in mind. You're not weighing your food, like you're just, you're grabbing whatever, but you're not actually weighing like the items that you're eating. And that's, I would say most people do not do that unless in very specific cases. And that's, I think, where it gets you, because it's like, yes, you feel like you're eating more, and you're not maybe watching what you eat because you're like going outside and, you're going to restaurants, but the portion sizes are incredibly important. And I can guarantee like you're just eating less calories in general, and fewer calories mean you're going to be losing weight, because you're not, your body it's a whole like science things behind losing weight, and calories in, calories out, and maintenance calories. But whatever. The whole thing is, I'm pretty sure it's the portion sizes, and not just, and when we're talking about like packaged foods that you actually like eat, like you get to get it like at a supermarket or like at a grocery store. It's, yes, it's all the pre-packaged items. I think they tend to have like the American counterparts. I think they tend to have like more sugar and more, I don't know, like more fat, but I would say definitely like more sugar. They put more stuff into it, which translates to more calories, because sugar is not, again, it's like, oh, sugar is bad. It's like, it's not just like the amount of sugar. It's just that because it has more sugar, it has more calories, and it's gonna make you gain a little bit more weight if you're going above your maintenance calories. So I would venture to say it's portion sizes and more sugar in the prepackaged things that you're eating. That's my guess.
So we live in Ireland, and our oldest is in senior infants, which is the equivalent of the second half of kindergarten. She did kindergarten back in the States. And she came home from school one day, and she said, "Mommy, we had a drill today." And I went, "Oh, active shooter drill? No. Bumper? No. Mommy, it was a fire drill.
Yeah.
Well, oh, okay. I mean, back home, she had active shooter drills every month in
That's
kindergarten. We get
awful.
these phone calls, and it'd say, "Oh, in accordance with Florida law,
Oh, they're from
everything's gone
Florida.
back to normal." And I'm just sitting there thinking of my kid hiding in a bathroom with 30 other kindergartners and her poor teacher trying to keep all these kids quiet. I'm like, that's not normal here. That's something we got used to because that's what.
That's crazy to me to hear because I think otherwise it's been normalized because I think it's required for I think almost every I don't know if every school, but it's required like normally and usually in the United States. But I think it's been I don't know if it's normalized because I think they can't keep it's important, I think. I get why they do it. Obviously, it's a very important and a very real concern, but it's like you shouldn't like assume that's normal. It's just like no, please. Again, it's like it's being normalized, but it's in the sense of like it doesn't. It's not like oh my god, you're doing what? But it's not. We know, like they know, like it's not normal. It's not normal, and the rest of the world does not do this. Simply like they do fire drills, they do like I don't know natural disaster drills. You know, just stuff that can happen, but not actually like not this. So it's like, oh my god, please don't tell me that you got used to this because it's like, it's not normal. And I wish, and I can only hope that Americans know that no, it's not normal. We know that we are the strange ones here. And of course we have to do it, but again, it's not normal. And I'm wondering if like, if it's the other way around, someone from Ireland in this case moves to the United States and it's like oh we're doing this drill and it's like you're doing what like it's gonna be like my child is doing what it's gotta be like a crazy experience experiencing like reverse culture shock is that the case of a reverse culture shock I don't know but I think it would be insane and wild.
America is. It's just one big active shooter drill.
Hey y'all, I am an American expat currently living in Kuwait. It is one of the countries in the Middle East region.
Yeah.
Living here, I had to overcome a lot of trauma from my home country. As you can see, I am black. And being black in America, you're usually followed around stores to make sure you're not stealing.
Oh,
no
racism.
one offers you help. No one offers you guidance. They just try to make sure you're not stealing because clearly that's what all black people do. Here, people follow you around the stores. However, it's because of the luxury of it all. I mean, they're following you around the stores holding your carts. They're placing things on the shelf. They're helping you get items. They're helping you try on things.
Oh.
And that was one of the traumas I had to overcome living here, that they don't think I'm a criminal. They just want me to be an actual customer.
They just want your money. That's it. But that's wild to me that it's I don't know again how normal it is. But I always say that's just like racism, casual racism, casual. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's casual because they're not actually like telling her or telling people in like something in particular. It's just like a microaggression because it's not like they still have like leeway of like oh we're not doing like we didn't tell you anything like we're not insulting you, we're not offending you. It's just a little that little like I again it's a microaggression because it's like you have the leeway of like if you're accusing them they're gonna be like accusing me of what like we're not doing anything, we're just like making sure like everything's in the right order like if you need help or something. So it's not necessarily I don't know. I'm wondering as well. No, because obviously that's been her experience. But I think in the United States, people do tend to follow you. I think it's more common probably for like people, customer service to be very like focused on like, hey, like, do you need anything? He's like, no, I'm good, thank you. And again, there are, I think, like probably like certain stores that do this more than others. Of like they want you. I don't know. They work on commission or something, so they want you like, hey, you're sure? Like, don't you want this? Like, isn't this nice? I don't know. They're showing you like, isn't this like a beautiful dress? It's like, no, I'm telling you, I'm fine. Like, if I need help, I'll tell you. But I think it depends on the store. But obviously, if she has experiences and she knows like it's because I'm black and people want to like they're like I'm seen as a dangerous person just because of my skin color, then yes, of course, obviously that's like very very racist. And again, it's like well, not all countries I think have a problem with this. A lot of countries do have this problem, but I think in the United States it's very. I don't know, like very, very like prominent probably. Yes, I think that's the prominent, but again, in a way that it's not going to make you feel like they're not telling her anything. but it's just like, I know what you're doing. So it's like, in the other, they just like, again, they just want your money, but it's just like in a different, they're chasing you around, but it's because of another reason.
I got this one. So I was in Tallinn, Estonia, and I had like this really bad feeling in my chest. I felt terrible, and I thought I was having a panic attack, but I wasn't totally sure. So I went downstairs to the front desk. The hospital called an ambulance. The ambulance came. They did a bunch of tests, gave me some medicine, calmed me down, and did a whole bunch of stuff. It was all done in the ambulance, and then when we were done, they gave me some medicine to go, and they were like, okay, go rest. And then I was like, okay.
Do I need to pay?
But what do I owe you? Like, I live in Finland, what do I owe you? And they were like,
Nothing.
what do you mean? And I was like, well, how do I pay for this? And they were like, oh no, this is free. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, no, this is free. Don't worry. And then I felt really guilty for everything.
Why guilty? Okay, that's crazy. No, you shouldn't feel guilt. Like, again, is this a weird experience of like, no, it's free, it's okay, like, it's been taken care of. But it's like, why would you feel guilty about this? It's like, oh, because you feel like you're abusing the system because I'm not paying anything. Is that where the guilt comes from? Because that's crazy. The feeling of like, again, healthcare should be universal, but it's kind of wilder to me. The thing of like she feeling guilty for this because it's like, I can't control, like, if I'm having, like, a medical emergency. Like, I don't want to feel awful. Do you feel like I want to, like, get a heart attack? No, of course. It's just, like, stuff that happens. So it is a little bit of, like, you know, what would I feel bad about this? I think maybe she felt like she was, like, cheating a little bit because she's, like, taking advantage of the whole system. But that's why the system is in place. It's like, yes, it's in place in order for you, like, if you ever have a medical emergency, we're going to take care of it. Because money shouldn't be, like, how much money you have shouldn't be tied to, like, how, you know, if you have a medical issue, like, if it's being solved or not. Sadly, that tends to be the case with a lot of countries, but that's not how it should be. Like, again, it's a universal healthcare. Like, we should all have this system in place that protects us as humans because we are part of a society.
9 months before I moved to Ireland, I was there on a vacation, and the person I was with, we had a car, and we stayed at a golf resort kind of in the middle of nowhere because it was the off season, so it was actually really affordable. There was a gated front entrance to this golf resort, and there was a small little village on the other side of it. And because we were pretty far back in the property and it was January, so the weather was kind of crappy, we often would drive if we needed to run to the store for anything or to a restaurant. We became friends with the front gate attendant because we were in and out all the time. So one day we're driving to go to dinner, and I had asked him, hey, what's the legal limit for like drinking and driving here? I wasn't planning to do anything stupid, but I'm also a public health major, and knowing that Ireland is known for its drinking culture, I was curious, so I thought I'd ask.
Okay.
The guy looked at me completely dumbfounded. He's like, what? So I clarified the amount of alcohol you can have in your system and still legally drive.
Yeah.
And he says, none?
So my mother went.
Okay, that's news to me. So other places do not have an alcohol limit. Okay, well, I learned something new today. I didn't know that. I assumed that yes, everyone had like a minimum of like you can drive. Like if you blow like the breathalyzer and it's like mine. I don't really know the actual number, but I know that yes, it's like 0.2, 0.3. I don't know. Like I've never had that experience, but yes, it's. I would assume that every country has this. So is this Ireland? Is the outlier there, or is it only Americans that do this? I would love to know because it would have never occurred to me. It's like, yes, you always have a limit, right? It's like, no, absolutely not. You always need to have a designated driver. Good for Ireland. Obviously, I think more countries should do this actually.
Was a registered nurse. She was working at 2 separate hospitals. Both of those positions were full-time. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She had 3 children and had to work those 2 full-time jobs for several years because she needed the health benefits because she couldn't afford her chemotherapy. So while she was going through chemo, radiation, all kinds of other treatments, because her cancer was pretty advanced and there were still some clinical trials for things. So while she's going through all of that, she still had to work about 72 hours each week. We moved to Canada shortly after she passed away, and after my father was left with over $50,000 of medical bills, and moved to Canada. Everything's free. Healthcare, which is free. They just give it to you to live.
Okay, so
That's awful. And like this story in particular, like it's all like the whole story is terrible, obviously. But I think it's even like more awful the fact that she was a registered nurse, and the fact that obviously she had to work with patients all the time and sick people just because of the nature of her job. And she had cancer, which is one of the things that you like they'll tell you when people are going through like with those treatments with chemo or whatever it is, like those cancer treatments that you need to have because you're immunocompromised. So it is you need to try to step on top of your health and rest, and of course do try not to get sick, basically, and everyone has to wear like masks and stuff. So it's like, oh my god, how awful it is that because of her job that she needed to have in order to pay for her medical treatment, she was putting herself at risk, not just for the fact of she obviously probably felt terrible and she still needed to work, but also like the nature of her own like job was putting her at risk. So it's, oh my god, it's such an awful story.
So I live in England now, but I do this thing where every time I enter a building, I like analyze like, okay, if someone comes in with a gun, where can I hide? Where can I run? What are my emergency exits? What are my chances of getting shot? So I think, okay, if he enters through this door, I'm probably gonna get shot. If he enters through that door, I probably won't get shot because of the angle. And I try to like, work it out all in my head. And so one time I was on a date with this guy and we were at a bar and I was kind of like, look.
It's insane. It's a very like anxious kind of personality, I think, that does this of like, I'm trying to look for exits, just in case of like an emergency. But of course, like you would say, it's anxiety, like it's all in my head. But I don't get to say that because no, it's a very real situation that happens all the time in the United States. So it's not in my head. So you can't actually like tell people it's okay, like chill, it's all in your head. It's like, no, it's a very real thing that's happening.
Around like, okay, like maybe I can hide here, maybe I can hide here, just kind of like.
And the guy was like, are you crazy?
And he's like, why are you looking around? Like,
Yeah.
You look crazy, you're drawing attention to us, like what the hell is wrong with you, kinda. And I was gonna say, oh, I'm just looking for an emergency exit or place to hide in case someone comes in with a gun. And then I realized gun crime isn't really a thing here.
Yes. And people, yes, are gonna look at you like you're insane. Like, okay, do you need to like talk to a therapist? Actually, not a bad idea. I think like this kind of like, I think you can laugh about it, but I think in reality is that I think if you talk to like a psychologist or a mental health professional, they'll probably tell you, you know what, it's a really good idea actually to talk this through in order to actually overcome this. Because again, it's a trauma response. It's a trauma that you have. And I think those things that you can actually like try to, you have to work on them. That actually like, this is valid. Like you should probably see a therapist, and it's like it's a good thing. Like for try because you shouldn't live like this. It's like you shouldn't live in fear. And sadly, obviously, people in the United States do have to live there like that. But obviously, if you don't really live there anymore, you have to actually like no, I have to like you have to like switch it off and live my life in a more normal way or more adapted to what I'm living here in right now in this moment in time.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh, such a great question. I have so many. The one that sticks out of my mind right now is the first time I celebrated the 4th of July and the Kiwis were like, oh, happy 4th of July. And I'm like, yeah, suckers. We broke away from the Queen a long time ago and we have freedom and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, hold on. What freedoms don't we have? And why is it bad that other countries work together to protect each other and help each other? And America's always talking about freedom, and what freedoms do you have that we don't have?
Incredible point. Yes, because I think it's like America, the land of the free. And it's like, what freedom do you actually have that other countries do not have? It's like, good point. Excellent point. Let me think about this.
And I was like, hold up. All this rhetoric that I was told my whole life, the land of the free, we need to fight for our freedom, and it's such a value in the American society. Yeah. And when you think about how many countries are just as free, where does this freedom value come from? I mean, it came back from the Revolutionary War, but hello, there's a lot of countries that are free. It was eye-opening.
That's actually, I've never thought of this, in that way, but it's like, yes, excellent point for them to point out of like, what exactly it says. It's like, yes, freedom to actually do not go outside because I'm going to get shot. That's not freedom. It's like, well, excellent point. Like, you can't argue that. So it's like, I think you guys win those. Like, yes, I don't think I'm going to argue this.
So I'm an American who's currently living in Canada, and in 2019, I was working on a film set and we were breaking for lunch, and I promise this isn't a joke setup, but it was an American, a Canadian, a New Zealander, and an Australian were all waiting and having lunch together.
It's literally a joke.
A truck backfires. Thinking it was a gunshot, I immediately hop underneath the table and am looking around before I realize what it was. And as I slowly get up, everybody's like,
"What are you doing?
What? Why is she?" And the Australian goes, "You're an American. That's right."
No more, just no more, no words.
So
yes.
about 2012, 2013, I lived in the Netherlands and I was learning Dutch. So when I watched the news with the Dutch subtitles, my host mom would explain to me what was going on. And I saw this priest and apparently he had been stabbed. And I'm like, oh, why is he on the news? He's been stabbed, but he's still alive. And she was talking about, how it was a big thing because priests don't typically get stabbed, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yes, I would also say it's kind of weird, right? Why would a priest get stabbed? Not that everyone should get stabbed on a daily basis, but I think it's a little weird, right? I think you would probably say, well, random people, crime of passion, but priests, they're seen as I don't know, they're what beef do they have? Who hates priests?
But I'm still wondering, what's the big deal? And then she's like, well, Sarah, you're from America, you have guns. And I'm like, well, yeah, we have guns. And she's like, well, over here we don't have guns. So this is big news because this guy was stabbed. And I'm still sitting there he's still alive. And that's when I realized we're a bit up.
It's if it's alive, why is it news? He didn't die. It's I stabbed you, but you're still alive. So why are you complaining? It's okay. Were they trying to get what was he trying to get robbed or something? No, I'm curious. Why would someone stab a priest?
Because I was questioning why a priest being stabbed was news.
If he was dead, how would he be on the news?
I wasn't drunk at the time, but good point.
Okay, so I came up to Ontario a few years ago for school after already getting my bachelor's in the States. And me and my office mate were sitting there going through our bills because they had just come out and our research fellowships were being applied. And I was like, oh, look, wow, this is really cheap. And she looks at me and she's like, what are you talking about? Especially yours. Yours is several grand more than mine just because you're international.
Oh.
I was so used to paying so much for university in the States that
it's you wouldn't know what I was actually you don't want to know how much it costs back home. Seriously, it's an insane amount.
Thought Canadian tuition was cheap.
Compared to the United States, I think all tuition, it's kind of basically free in every other single place in the world. I think there's probably few little places where it's actually more expensive. And I don't even know where, I can't even name them. I'm sure there must be, but I think that's a general rule. I think if you're coming from the United States, everything, every sort of education, at a college level or, beyond that, it's so incredibly cheap. It's well, yes, of course, if you're from this medium, you're going to think, well, it's not that cheap. It's oh, I come from the United States. You wouldn't want to know, how much actually, my bachelor's cost. It's going to blow your mind, not in a good way.
Really, it's not. So, yeah, thanks, America.
Okay, so I've got this one. So I went to South India in 2013 for a school trip, and we all ate at a restaurant, and most of us got food poisoning and ended up getting really, really sick. Couldn't keep anything down. Vomiting, diarrhea, the whole works. There were two of us, me and another kid, that were really not doing hot. We were getting really dehydrated, and so they ended up sending us to a hospital. We took a tuk-tuk and went to the emergency room. I ended up getting 2 IV bags and spending a few hours there. And at the end, when they told me how much it was going to be when I left, they told me $9. Being an American, I was like, hold up. Did you mean 900, 9,000, right? No. $9. $9 for medication, IV, emergency, everything. What?
Never in the United States. You know what? It's crazy. The trend continues. The most craziest, the craziest, I think, stories and the more like, are those cultural shocks? Can those be considered cultural shocks? The thing that you realize, wow, America's really like messed up. It's all having to do with healthcare. Not most of them, but it's all negative. It's like, well, it's obviously the connotation is bad, clearly, because it tells you like it's messed up. So yes, of course it's bad. But it's like, wow, you really do see it. Like when you're like having a compilation like this, you really do see, wow, you know what up? America really did a number on you, right? It's like, yes, absolutely. You know, you have, again, the healthcare, number one, people are just like, I don't have to go bankrupt just because I had a medical emergency, that it wasn't even that bad, because like for instance, that girl and the one with the one that thought she was having like a heart attack, those are like minor medical emergencies. You had to go to the emergency room, but at the end of the day, she was dehydrated. The other girl didn't mention like what she had, but it wasn't like, again, a serious problem. It's just like, they'll give you something. It's like, it's okay. You're going to be okay. You know, you have to let it pass and that's it. It's not like something of like, well, we had to get you open for surgery right now. It's not that kind of like emergency. So those are like minor things, and just like, well, yes, you know, those kind of things in the United States, it would cost you like so much, because it's a trip again to the emergency room and maybe an ambulance trip. Like, it's gonna cost you so much, but it's like, yes, it shouldn't. And again, in the rest of the countries, I don't know how like good the healthcare system is in other places. Apparently, like, good for them. Like they were treated proper. They were treated like properly. Some places, I think it depends, because I think some other places do have like, you know, they're free, but maybe they're not that good. Like you're not gonna get like the best medical attention, which is obviously, you know, not that good. Like if you maybe like, no, I'd rather pay, you know, but at least I'm gonna get like properly treated. So I think that really does depend depending on the country. But the fact that the United States is like a huge amount, I think that's where like it loses the whole point a little bit, because even in places where it's like, it's probably seen as expensive for or by the people that live there, like, wow, you know, it isn't that cheap, but at least it's like, it works fine and it works properly. So, you know, I can't complain that much because the thing's working. But, you know, in the United States, it's like, well, yes, you know, in this case, sometimes you don't even get like the best medical attention, and you still have to pay. Like, still, it's incredibly expensive. And again, compared to the baseline that most people have, like, it's so incredibly expensive, $2,000 for like an ambulance ride. And then coming to another place of like, maybe, you know, someone's going to tell you, wow, no, it's kind of expensive. It's like, I don't know, $200. It's like, wow, that is, you know, for them it's expensive, but like for you, like if you're used to like $2,000 ambulance trips, like that's, oh my God, this is like, what a steal. So it is kind of like crazy. Although I think, you know, again, I'm mentioning it again, like healthcare should be universal and should be free for everyone on this planet, because again, people, you know, you didn't ask to be, you know, I didn't ask to be born, like, I'm sorry, so why should you pay for this? I think you should pay, but yeah, I think maybe like, I don't know, that's my personal view. I think maybe it should come from your taxes, you know, letting it out there. I think again, it's like, if you contribute to society in a meaningful way, I think like it should come from taxes, and then we all like benefit from this system. But again, obviously that changes. But the fact that the United States does not have this, and again, you have to like, everything has to go through insurance, and it's a crazy hassle to go through this. I don't think that's a great system, and I think most people would agree that isn't that great. And I think something that was my favorite part of this video was the woman with the whole like that other people, I think was a Kiwi or something, that were like, what exactly are you like, oh, America, like the free, you know, we're the best, America, it's greatest country. It's like, okay, you guys are so free, like what kind of freedoms do you have that other people and other places do not have? I don't think you can answer that properly, because I think the whole freedom, I think it can be a very like loaded concept. Like it can mean a lot of things for different people. It has very like different definitions depending on who you ask, and depending on your own point of view. And that can definitely change. That's very personal. But I think in a broader aspect, I think they kind of like, they'll, you know, in the United States, they'll sell you the idea of, you know, you have like the free, wow, America, like the land of free. But it's like, you're not, to the point you're not actually like thinking about this. It's a little bit of like, I don't want to go into like harsher terms, but let's just say like it's drilled into like very young people, and you actually do not like reason this, and you never have, I think, the opportunity to like ask yourself, but really what does this freedom actually mean? Because it's been sold to you in that prepackaged idea and notion of like America, the land of the free. And you're constantly just like spewing this words out because again, it's what you grew up to, and they drilled this into you like since you're in kindergarten. So it is a little bit of like you really do have to like step outside of some sort, or people have to actually make you realize what kind of freedom are you talking about? Like what freedom is this? Because I think if you actually analyze it, you're gonna realize it isn't as free as I think. Like especially again, and I know that freedom has a lot of, like I mentioned, a lot of like different connotations, a lot of definitions, and it can mean a lot of different things for people. But I think safety, for instance, I think it's one of those things that are probably most people would agree. Like, being free to like go outside and being safe. I think that's freedom. And do Americans feel like that? Do you feel like if you go to a school, or you're in a mall, or you're in some sort of public place, are you free to just like roam? It's like without any sort of like danger? Do you feel in danger? Because I think one could argue that that's not freedom, right? Like if I'm scared of going outside, or if I'm scared of going to like school because there's like something bad can happen, I would argue that's not freedom, right? So, again, it's like a little bit of, you need to take the steps to actually get there, and you need someone to actually tell you, or you need to actually really do sort of like think about this room properly and think like, wait, what is it that I'm being sold exactly? But I think it's a hard thing to realize, and I think that's why Americans do not they don't come to terms with this, because unless again like they actually move, and you actually move outside, and you actually probably know people from other places, I think it's hard to realize, because it's like one of those things of like, if you're in a cage and you always grew up in a cage, in a bigger cage, you're never going to be feeling like you're in a cage, because that's all you know. And you need to like, once I went outside, it's when I realized, wow, I was in a cage. So it is a little bit of like that. And a gilded cage is still a cage. Well, again, it's a very like, we can talk about this and it could be very debatable, but I think in a short sort of like, it can be summarized as that. That's all I'm going to say. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.